Today, we're diving into one of the most seismic shifts in global trade in the electric vehicle industry, the emerging alliance between China and Mexico. This isn't just about billions of dollars or new factories, it's about a fundamental reordering of supply chains. Shifting geopolitical alliances, and the challenge it poses to U.S. economic influence. For decades, Mexico's economic success has been tightly linked to that of the United States through trade deals like NAFTA and, more recently, the U.S.-Mexico-Canada Agreement, USMCA. However, recent years have witnessed a dramatic pivot. Chinese firms, long known for their massive manufacturing prowess, are now investing heavily in Mexico, modernizing its industrial base and reshaping its global role. What does this mean for everyday people? In border towns along the U.S.-Mexico corridor, residents have seen improved infrastructure, better roads and modernized ports, thanks to new investments. Lower production costs in Mexico could eventually lead to more affordable vehicles and consumer goods. For example, if these investments help reduce the cost of electric vehicles by even 10 to 15%, families could save hundreds of dollars on long-term transportation costs. According to the International Energy Agency, IEA, EV adoption is expected to grow from 2.1% in 2023 to nearly 30% by 2030, changes that directly affect daily commuting, environmental quality, and household budgets. Chapter 1. The New Investment Wave and Technological Transformation. Since 2018, Chinese investments in Mexico have soared, totaling over $2.3 billion in key sectors, particularly automotive manufacturing. In 2023 alone, the automotive sector attracted nearly $2.72 billion. These investments aren't merely for building factories, they extend to creating state-of-the-art research and development centers, integrating supply chains, and implementing advanced workforce training programs that promise to modernize Mexico's industrial capabilities. Chinese companies such as BYD, SAIC Motor, and Chery are leveraging Mexico's strategic location, favorable trade agreements, and competitive labor costs. They're not just building factories, they're building innovation hubs. This wave of capital is driving technological transformation that could ripple throughout the economy. For the everyday consumer, these investments could mean more affordable electric vehicles and consumer goods. Lower production costs may eventually translate to a 10 to 15% decrease in retail prices of EVs. Moreover, increased job opportunities in modern manufacturing plants could boost household incomes. In fact, the Mexican automotive industry now contributes about 4.8% to the country's GDP and supports over 1 million direct jobs and 3.5 million indirect jobs. This means that the ripple effect of these investments isn't just economic, it's personal, affecting everything from job security to the price of everyday goods. Chapter 2. The lithium boom and the EV revolution. One major driver behind these shifts is lithium, often called white gold, in the electric vehicle (EV) revolution. Lithium is essential for EV batteries, and Mexico's rich reserves are attracting major Chinese investments. By securing long-term agreements for lithium extraction and processing, China is not only ensuring a stable supply for its battery production but also gaining a crucial cost advantage. Chinese automakers are increasingly establishing EV production hubs in Mexico. For example, BYD is exploring a manufacturing plant valued at around $1 billion that could produce thousands of electric vehicles annually for the Latin American market. Although BYD isn't targeting the US directly, citing politically motivated trade barriers, its presence in Mexico could eventually lead to lower EV prices regionally. Imagine a future where electric vehicles are affordable for the average family. As production costs drop, studies suggest that EV prices could fall by 10 to 20% compared to current levels. With EV adoption predicted to surge, up from 2.1% in 2023 to nearly 30% by 2030, more households could replace traditional gasoline vehicles, reducing fuel costs and air pollution. Lower vehicle prices and reduced emissions mean better urban air quality, lower commuting costs, and a healthier environment for children. A 10% reduction in EV prices could save a family approximately $3 on a new vehicle, making clean technology more accessible. Chapter 3. Repercussions for the United States. The rapid influx of Chinese investment in Mexico is reshaping the economic landscape, and it's not without consequences for the United States. U.S. manufacturers now face fierce competition from state-of-the-art facilities in Mexico. With production costs dropping and technological innovation accelerating, American companies may find themselves at a disadvantage if they do not keep pace. Key areas of impact: economic competition. U.S. companies risk losing market share if Chinese-backed factories produce vehicles at significantly lower costs. Some estimates suggest that if tariffs are bypassed through Mexico, vehicle prices in the U.S. could fall by 15% for imported models. Undercutting domestic production. Trade and tariff challenges. Under the USMCA, products made in Mexico with sufficient North American content can enter the U.S. market with minimal tariffs. This creates a potential backdoor for Chinese products to enter the U.S. at a fraction of the cost. Research indicates that if Chinese-backed products capture even 10% of the U.S. auto market, consumer vehicle prices could shift by 5 to 10%, impacting millions of families. National security concerns. As vehicles become more connected and data-driven, the integration of advanced Chinese technologies in EVs raises serious cybersecurity issues. Studies estimate that vulnerabilities could affect up to 20% of smart vehicles on U.S. roads, a risk that goes well beyond economics into national security. Political and social fallout. Heightened trade tensions could lead to higher tariffs, potentially increasing the cost of imported vehicles by 10 to 15%. For everyday Americans, this might translate into a $5 increase in the cost of a new car, directly impacting household budgets and potentially leading to job losses in sectors reliant on international trade. For everyday Americans, these dynamics might mean higher vehicle costs, fewer job opportunities in certain manufacturing sectors, and even cybersecurity concerns with smart vehicles. If tariffs push up the cost of imported cars by 15%, families may end up paying thousands more for a vehicle, a direct hit to consumer wallets and overall quality of life. Chapter 4. Mexico's strategic transformation and the emerging China-Mexico alliance. For Mexico, the influx of Chinese investment is a transformative opportunity. Investments are modernizing infrastructure, new highways, railroads, and port facilities are being built to support expanded manufacturing operations. Recent data shows that Mexico's automotive industry now contributes about 4.8% of its GDP and supports over 1 million direct jobs. These improvements are not only boosting industrial capacity but are also enhancing everyday life for millions of Mexicans. At the same time, Mexican leaders face a delicate balancing act. While foreign investments are welcome for their economic benefits, there's growing concern about preserving national sovereignty and ensuring balanced trade relations with key partners like the US and Canada. President Claudia Sheinbaum has stressed that while Mexico is open to foreign investment, it must prioritize partnerships that ensure long-term stability. For the average Mexican, these transformations could mean improved public transportation, better roads, and increased job opportunities in modern manufacturing sectors. A recent survey found that nearly 40% of Mexican workers expect their living standards to improve due to these investments. Better infrastructure reduces commute times and improves the reliability of essential services, directly impacting daily routines and quality of life. Chapter 5. U.S. Policy Response and Strategic Recommendations. The rapid shifts in trade dynamics have forced the U.S. to rethink its strategies. To protect domestic industries while maintaining healthy trade relationships, U.S. policymakers are considering several key measures: tightening regional content rules, increasing the required percentage of North American-sourced components under the USMCA from 75% to perhaps 85%, could limit the ability of Chinese-backed factories to qualify for duty-free status. This could add an average of 5 to 10% to the cost of imported vehicles, directly affecting consumer prices. Robust investment screening. Enhancing the foreign direct investment screening process would help ensure that sensitive technologies remain under U.S. control. Some experts estimate that improved screening could protect up to 20% of U.S.-sensitive tech sectors. Encouraging innovation and R&D. For U.S. automakers to stay competitive, increased investment in research and development is essential. Enhanced R&D efforts could lead to a 15 to 20% improvement in productivity and innovation, ultimately resulting in more competitive products and lower prices for consumers. Strengthening North American trade dialogue. Rather than resorting immediately to heavy tariffs, engaging in strategic dialogue with Mexico and Canada is crucial. By establishing fair trade practices and updated USMCA rules, the U.S. can help ensure balanced trade without triggering a full-scale trade war. For everyday Americans, these policy measures could mean a mix of outcomes. On the plus side, Stronger domestic industries might lead to more secure jobs and ultimately lower prices if innovation flourishes. However, in the short term, increased tariffs could raise the cost of imported vehicles and consumer goods by an estimated 10 to 15%, potentially adding thousands of dollars to the cost of a new car. Such price hikes could directly impact household budgets, forcing families to make tough spending choices. Chapter 6. A global perspective and future scenarios. It's essential to understand that these developments are part of a broader global trend. Countries worldwide are adjusting their trade policies in response to China's aggressive investments. Nations in Europe, Asia, and Latin America are imposing new trade barriers to protect their domestic industries. Global data from the International Trade Center indicates that since 2020, many countries have seen an average 8 to 10% increase in import tariffs on Chinese goods. For example, countries like Indonesia, Thailand, and Brazil are already taking measures to shield their markets. This reconfiguration of global supply chains could lower production costs by 10 to 20%. But it may also lead to occasional shortages or delays that affect everyday shopping experiences. Future scenarios. Continued Chinese investment. Projections suggest that by 2030, Mexican FDI from China could exceed $10 billion cumulatively, further boosting infrastructure and creating millions of jobs. Reshaped global supply chains. A shift toward diversified production hubs might lower costs but also increase complexity, potentially affecting product availability. U.S. policy recalibration. If U.S. trade policies are successfully rebalanced, sudden price hikes may be avoided. If not, consumers could face a 10 to 15% increase in prices for key imports. Geopolitical realignment. As Mexico's ties with China strengthen, U.S. influence in Latin America may decline, leading to new regional alliances that impact global trade dynamics. Technological innovation. Increased competition in the EV market could drive a 15 to 20% improvement in vehicle efficiency, directly lowering maintenance costs and benefiting consumers. Globally, these shifts will affect daily routines, from the price of your next smartphone to the cost of your daily commute. For instance, if production efficiencies lower vehicle prices by 15%, an EV currently priced at $35 could drop to under $30, making clean transportation more accessible. Conversely, if trade tensions trigger tariff hikes, everyday items may become more expensive, impacting family budgets and overall consumer spending. In conclusion, the emerging alliance between China and Mexico represents a bold new chapter in global trade, electric vehicle production, and the reordering of economic power in North America. Chinese investments in Mexico are modernizing industries, lowering production costs, and potentially leading to more affordable consumer products. At the same time, this shift challenges traditional U.S. economic influence and raises critical national security questions. For everyday people, these changes could mean lower vehicle prices, more job opportunities, and improved infrastructure, but they also come with risks like higher consumer prices if trade tensions escalate. Whether you're a family considering your next car purchase or a worker in a manufacturing hub, the evolving trade landscape will have a direct impact on your daily life. Now, we want to hear from you. What do you think about the evolving China-Mexico alliance? Can U.S. policymakers adapt to these new realities, or will traditional trade practices be upended by this dynamic new partnership? Share your thoughts in the comments below.